Living in paradise quickly turns to hell when a mother of three is torn to shreds just yards from her beachfront property on the Hawaiian island of Maui. Marti Morrell had swum every morning of her life since she was a little girl. Now, living on the idyllic island with her family, she continued that tradition until fate finally caught up with her. Hit like and subscribe. This is Fierce. Martha Morrell, known as Marti, grew up in Des Moines. She attended Washington State University, where she met her husband, Dave Morrell. They decided to move to Hawaii in 1972. They settled there and started a family. Dave got a job as the manager of the Pioneer Sugar Mill on Maui. In 1988, they moved to a beautiful beachfront property at Hekili Point, Olowalu. It was like a dream come true. This place had something special. A double reef system that created a calm and private lagoon. Every morning, Marti would walk from her house to the beach and go for a swim in the crystal clear water. She loved swimming since she was a young girl, and now she had the ocean right at her doorstep. It was perfect. Their children were growing up, and by 1991, their son Mark was studying at Columbia University. Their other two children, Malaya and Keone, were going to Lahaina Luna High School on Maui. Marti loved swimming so much that she became a board member at the Oahu's Manoa Aquatics Club, which was a swimming club for kids. She also spent time volunteering and raising money for the United Way, a charity that helped the people of Oahu in Hawaii. Marti was a kind and gentle person who was active in her church. She even invited the Waiоla Church Choir to come sing Christmas carols in her neighborhood and offered to feed them afterward. Unfortunately, her generous offer never came to be. In November 1991, tension hung heavy in the Hawaiian morning air. Marti's friend Louise Sourisseau, a Vancouver doctor, was visiting the Morrell family. Little did they know, their early morning swim on November 26, 1991 would be far from routine. The clock hadn't quite struck 9 when they ventured into the sea, their lives unknowingly poised on a precipice. They swam out, leaving the shore behind, venturing about 100 yards beyond the protective reef. However, in a heartbeat, tranquility surrendered to terror. Only 10 minutes into their swim, Louise's trained eye caught a glimpse of something ominous, a dorsal fin breaching the surface, tantalizingly close. At first, she mistook it for a playful dolphin, a flash of gray amidst the cerulean expanse. Her curiosity led her to dip her head beneath the waves, and as her vision adjusted, a chilling truth unfurled. It was not a dolphin. What materialized before her was the stuff of nightmares, a creature from the abyssal depths of fear itself. It was a tigershark, a beast notorious in the annals of oceanic dread. Louise felt her blood run cold as the enormity of the situation seized her. This was no ordinary shark. It was a titan among predators, and it was closing in. In an instant, the idyllic morning shattered into a nightmare. Without warning, the Leviathan lunged, jaws agape, seizing Marti's torso in a vice-like grip. In a macabre ballet, it thrashed its head from side to side, locked onto its quarry with an unbreakable grip. Louise grabbed a piece of driftwood that bobbed nearby, swung it like a makeshift weapon, attempting to repel the attacker. But the shark remained undeterred, its predatory focus unbroken. Marti's anguished cries filled the air as she fought for her life, struggling to wrestle herself from the jaws of the relentless predator. She fought to keep her head above water, but the shark's relentless pull dragged her into the abyss. The chaos unfolding in the water didn't go unnoticed. At Marti's house, the maid witnessed the unfolding tragedy and dialed emergency services with trembling hands. With the brutal assault showing no signs of relenting, Louise faced a dire choice. She had to swim for shore and summon help. As she reached the shallows, panic coursing through her veins, she screamed for assistance, her voice a desperate plea echoing through the coastal stillness. A repairman laboring at Marti's residence heard the frantic cries and bolted outside. He snatched a paddleboard and plunged into the churning sea, propelling himself toward Marti's dire situation. In the tumultuous water, a nightmarish scene played out. The dark gray fins and sinuous form of the shark surged above the surface as it relentlessly rolled and tore into Marti. The repairman's arrival on the scene unveiled a horrifying revelation. more sharks had joined the gruesome feast. It had turned into a frenzied bloodbath, an insurmountable onslaught. Terrified for his own life atop the precarious paddleboard, he made a harrowing decision. He turned and paddled frantically back to the safety of the shore, leaving Marti to her grim fate. Emergency services, along with personnel from the Department of Land and Natural Resources and the Lahaina Fire Station, sprang into action. Despite the grim realization that Marti had already succumbed to her injuries, they knew they needed to retrieve her remains. As they approached her lifeless form floating in the water, the massive tigershark continued its menacing patrol, circling its quarry. Retrieving her body became a perilous endeavor, as they couldn't reach her without risking their own lives. In a daring move, they steered the boat toward the relentless predator, forcing it to retreat. Only then could they finally pull Marti's lifeless form aboard, ending the harrowing ordeal. The ferocity of the attack had left devastation in its wake. The shock rippled through the family and reverberated in the hearts of everyone who knew the compassionate 41-year-old Marti. Marti had played by all the rules. She hadn't ventured into the ocean alone, choosing to swim in the safety of daylight. The sky had been a clear, sun-soaked canvas, the water a crystalline expanse, and she was in familiar territory. It was precisely the advice the experts offered to those navigating waters known to host sharks. Marti had followed every guideline to the letter. Perhaps in her frantic attempt to escape, she had inadvertently stirred the shark's interest with her splashing, but it remained an unfortunate case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Between September and November each year, female tiger sharks migrated to Hawaii's warmer waters to give birth. During this time, the shallow reefs saw an uptick in their numbers. Marti's tragic encounter marked the first fatal shark attack witnessed in Hawaii in 33 long years. On average, Hawaii experienced 3 shark bites annually, and tiger sharks rank second in the list of most dangerous species, following only the great white. Louise was traumatized by the harrowing incident and chose to stay on the island, seeking solace among friends. In the aftermath, the Department of Land and Natural Resources took action, enlisting the expertise of shark fishermen James Stegmuller and Steve Thompson to track down and capture the responsible shark. Beaches in the vicinity were promptly closed, and a state of heightened vigilance gripped the area. Snorkeling tourists were urged to make a hasty exit, and a couple on a lilo suddenly found themselves eerily alone in the once teeming waters just meters from the shore. The shocking news rippled through the community, spreading like wildfire. But just 4 days after the gruesome attack, the shark hunt was abruptly called off. The 2 fishermen, James and Steve, faced threats from locals who held the belief that these sharks were more than just predators. They were family or personal deities. Fearing for their safety and respecting the local culture, the 2 men refused to continue the hunt, and the authorities officially closed the chapter on the search.